They say that you are bound to fail if you fail to plan. Indeed, planning is one of the integral parts in conducting research and writing a report. Hello there, it's Tuesday. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's time for English, okay, for academic and professional purposes. So I am Tutor Alvin and Tutor Aaron is with us in the comment section, and we are your AF buddies for Itulay online tutorial session at this hour. So, kumusta everyone? So, how do you feel? So, I think we're now on the week 5. Yan. Okay. How's everybody? Our AF phenomenal students. So, I think after this, we'll be having 3 more episodes to finish our AF journey. So let's read here some comments. And of course, our early bird from YouTube. He is Joseph Conrad Bulaklak. Good afternoon, Joseph. And to all our students from San Mariano National High School, from SDO Isabela, from our students there from Camarines Sur. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And ayan, another viewer, another A phenomenal student or learner, Grazerny Ekweyan. Okay, watching from YouTube. So good afternoon. Ayan. So Daniela Denise from Santa Maria National High School. Hello, Daniela from 12 numbers. And see you tomorrow. Feeling excited, malapit ng face-to-face classes. Yay! That's right, Anthony. But then some of our your AAP mates here have already experienced face-to-face classes. So why don't you share our AF Phenomenal students who are currently having their face-to-face classes? Kumusta ang face-to-face classes? Para naman ma-excited na rin kasi ang ating ibang students who are about, okay, to have face-to-face classes probably next week or the following weeks. Ayan, so we have here John Carlo watching from Canada. Baka naman may pa-chocolate ka, John Carlo, once you um arrive back home. So ayan, so eto na, Anthony, okay? These are so they are there's an adjustment, okay? Adjusting face ulit. Ayan, sabi it's euphoric, sabi ni Gea. Wow. Angel dito, my student from 12 Genesis from Santa Maria National High School. Good afternoon. Okay. Ayan, so what's the meaning of those waves, Daniela? All right. So thank you very much. So keep on commenting. So make the comment box active as you participate and learn for our lesson in English for academic and professional purposes. Hello, Wachulaine. Nice meeting you here. Okay, so last time, that was week 4, we talked about how to design, to test, and revise survey questionnaires, right? So, okay, let us award our AF Phenomenal Student for quarter 4, week 4. And I think Marians is familiar with this face, okay? Based on our judgment, okay, with Tutor Aaron, our AF Phenomenal Student for last week is, he is, okay, walang iba, ang pinagmamalaki ng Santa Maria High. Hello there, Teddy I. Lobo from Santa Maria National High School, SDO, Pampanga. So you exuded confidence and, of course, competence in answering questions last week. Again, Teddy, congratulations. Please tag him, okay? Please tag Teddy. So okay, moving on. Last from the previous weeks, we talked about how to analyze and presenting your arguments, writing your position paper, and then we also talk about the objectives and structures of various kinds of reports. And it's still fresh when we tried to design, test, and revise survey questionnaires. So we'll be moving on to our next topic. And this is it. It's all about conducting, gathering information from surveys, experiments, or observations. But before that, what do you need to know for this afternoon, for this week 4, for this session? Okay, our target is for you to conduct and gather information from surveys, experiments, or observations. Remember the keyword conduct and gather. So, what's new for this afternoon? Our dear AI phenomenal students, it's just simple. Identify the method in administering a survey. Okay, it's just actually it's a combination of a review, and it could be um an initiating activity. So because I think we already touched part of this last week, but then we'll be talking more about it for this afternoon. So again, identify the method in administering a survey. I know you're still familiar with the methods in administering a survey. Are the phenomenal students? Are you ready? Please comment down below and say ready. Yes, Tutor Alvin, we are ready. Or maybe you can um, click or tap reactions there for me to know that you are really ready. Again, our dear AF Phenomenal students, are you ready? Okay, Angelica May Hernandez says, ready. She's ready. How about our other students? Anthony is also ready. I'm ready. Okay, let us begin. The first is, uh, okay, the interview is set personally and the people involved face each other in order to gather the necessary information. What method of survey administration is this? When the interview is set personally and the people involved face each other in order to gather the necessary information. All right, Angelica May Hernandez, let's check. Okay, it is what do we call the face-to-face interview. That is correct. Next, this is a traditional method of administering a survey which entails that respondents, okay, be or are accompanied by someone who is computer literate. Okay? Yan, tama ang mga sagot nila. From our first question, it's face-to-face. How about this one? This is a traditional method of administering a survey which entails that respondent be or are accompanied by someone who is computer literate. We call this one, okay, this is the paper and pencil survey. That is correct. Okay, Alan Mark, got it. Angelica, congratulations. How about this one? It's very obvious because of the picture clue. This popular tool requires an easy administering of the survey where survey questionnaires are mailed to individuals who are given enough time to read and ponder on the information asked. Okay, Mark Gabriel, Alan Mark, Angelica again got it. This is what do we call the mail survey. Actually, I can consider answer Keisha Mirandilla as an online interview because definitely you cannot send an email without an internet. If you'll be using email, the electronic one. Okay, thank you, thank you. There are a lot of correct answers here. So again, congratulations for this preliminary activity. Okay, actually, it's not. We're not yet done. Another question is: this enables all participants to answer through different online platforms. Okay, how about this one? Ayan, Christian Martinez, hello, good afternoon, Nak. Okay, this enables all participants to answer through different online platforms. We call this, okay, this is the online one, an online survey or an online interview. Okay, so are you all ready to move on? Handa ka na bang mag-move on? Yes or no? For our next lesson for the quarter 4, week 5. Okay, I guess you are ready. So for this one, we'll be talking about conducting and gathering information from survey. Remember this three: from survey, from experiments, and from observation. Okay, from surveys, experiments, and observation. So from our previous topic, we talked about how to design a questionnaire, the different types of questions, right? How to formulate one, the do's and don'ts in survey questionnaire. Now, our next step, since you already have your questionnaire, you have to conduct it. You have to conduct the interview, you have to conduct the experiment, or conduct the observation. Okay? Because you need to distribute those questions for them to be answered by your respondents or your participants. But the question is how? How should we go to our respondents, to our participants, for our survey questionnaires to be answered, for our experiment to be implemented, and for us to do the observation? And the second question is, after you conduct it, definitely there must be a result yielding, okay? And you need to gather. And from those questions or from those answers, how will you gather the information? Those are the two big questions for this afternoon. So first, these are the ways on how you should conduct surveys, experiments, or observations. Can I know the difference between a survey, an experiment, and an observation? Why don't you try to share your responses on the comment section? When we say survey, what is it for you? How about an experiment? How about an observation? Can we differentiate these three? I guess you can. So while we are waiting for your answers, so let me reveal now how surveys can be done. Okay? How surveys can be done. It can be done in three ways, or it can be distributed in three ways. Okay, first is by email. By email. How can you do this? You have already your survey questionnaire, send it via email. Next, by telephone. Or if you have that landline telephone, you may use cellular phone or mobile phone. So through phone, you can ask questions. You can do survey. Or maybe through personal interview. You'll be having a face-to-face interaction with your respondent and let them answer the questionnaire. That is the personal interview. So those are the three ways on how can we do surveys, on how can we administer survey questionnaire. Again, by email, by telephone, and by personal interview. So I think those are clear, right? Next is, how can you conduct an effective survey? Paano nga ba? You have to follow these steps. But before that, can I read the answer of Alan Mark here about the experimental or experiment? It is done in a lab. Survey and observations are collected or inferred from the population. Yeah, you have the idea, Alan Mark. Okay. So yeah, in some cases, experimental can involve people as the control and intervention group, or this is what we call the experimental design, all right? Or the quasi or the quasi experimental is that you have the control and the intervention group, wherein um you're trying to prove something, or you're trying to prove if something is effective or not. You can do experimentation or the experimental design. Okay, so in conducting for an effective survey, follow the following. First is determine who will participate in the survey. Determine who will participate in the survey. That's very important. This is what do we call what? Your the person who will participate in your survey. We call them your okay, your sample. That's right, your sample. Okay, isn't that sample is part of the population, but you have to always remember that the sample should somewhat contain most of the characteristics of the entire population. Yeah. What are the different steps of sample? Depends upon the approach. If your approach is quantitative, we call them the respondents. How about when your research approach is qualitative? What do we call the sample? We call them as the letter P. All right, very good. We call them the participants. And if it is a mixed method, okay, we call them the key informants. So the samples in a particular research report have different names depending on the approach that you're using. Again, for quantitative, we call them the respondents, right? For the qualitative, we call them the participants. So next one, after that you were able to determine your samples, your participants, or your respondents. It's time for you to decide the type of survey. How are you going to administer it? Should I send it to an email or online? Okay, now or during the onset of the pandemic, how most of the surveys are administered online, and what is the app or the software application being used in administering the surveys online? Okay, we have the very famous, okay, the Google Form. We have also the, I think that is the Microsoft Forms, something like that, or maybe in person. And number three, design the survey questions and layout. Okay, so it's very important that the questions you crafted, you designed are properly arranged. It is neat, it is clean, and of course, there's a uniformity in the term of layout. Hindi naman kailangan na napakamakulay ng iyong survey form. Okay? Black and white, monochromatic. It could be what important. Every question, every word is readable and understandable. It is decent, neat, clean, and presentable. So next one, we have distribute the survey. Of course, if you have now, you made it printed. If you will be using the face-to-face approach or the personal interview, you have now your you made it photocopied. Okay, you will produce copies of your questionnaires. It's now time for you to distribute them. And the next step is, after you distributed them, definitely they will answer, right? They will answer or accomplish your questionnaire, and then they should be returned back to you. And what are you going to do? Analyze their responses. Number six, and of course, write up the results. In reporting, you are spreading, you are presenting information, data and information. And how can you give if you don't have? You cannot give what you don't have. That's why we're conducting survey. We're conducting survey so that when we are reporting, we have something to share. We have a data or information that we are going to present. That's why in here, the result is very important. After we gathered the information from the survey questionnaire, we have to write the result. We have to synthesize. Okay, we have to analyze the responses and synthesize so that we can write the result or present the report. Okay, ayan. Akala ko anong Google Dorm ito. Julius, hello there, Julius. Kumusta? Yeah, it's Google Form. Tama? An online way on administering survey question. Okay, salamat sa pa-heart, Carl Jose Yabut. Okay, now, sir, when should we use a survey? Definitely, a survey may be your best choice when, definitely, number one, you need a quick and efficient way of getting information. Diba? Kung papipiliin ka, quantity or quali? Maraming pumipili ng quantity. Bakit? Mabilis mag-analyze daw ng data. Okay? Kasi bibilangin, you'll just be counting depending upon, okay, your strategy on how can you gather and collect data. But sabi nila, mas efficient nga daw talaga if you're going to use the survey questionnaire. Next, you need to reach many people. Yeah, I think it is true because in qualitative kasi, pwede ang 10, right? that those 10 will be interviewed. Okay, you'll be asking their experiences if it is a phenomenology, qualitative. But in quantitative, of course, you'll be using a survey questionnaire. Hundreds of people ang iyong sample o ang mga respondents mo. Right? Okay. Mas exciting guys ang quanti. Ayan. So nagsalita na si Allen. How about you? What's your quanti or quali? But we cannot compete um, those two with each other because they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. It depends upon the coverage of your study and of course the focus of your study. What do you want to show? What do you want to prove? Or what do you want to answer? Okay, next is if you need statistically valid information about many people, is it not after collecting the data, it should be statistically treated, okay, using applications, software applications right now. Hindi mo na kailangan magmano-mano i-compute ang weighted mean, ang correlation, ang regression. We have apps, right? We have apps. Oh, will you please give me some apps na ginamit nyo ngayon sa inyong triple I o sa practical research tool ninyo? Okay, na mas napadali. Isn't that we have the SPSS, right? That's correct. We have the Stata and even Excel, pero medyo masalimuot nga lang, and any other software apps, right? And then you can use, oh yan, tama, sabi ni we can use Excel also. So a survey may be your best choice also when the information you need is not readily available through other means. Kasi nga mas mabilis, okay, ang mag-analyze ng quantitative data. So if um that's your strength, go with the survey. Go with the survey. And that is how we should be conducting a survey. Another steps is, of course, um, have your questionnaire crafted clearly. Okay, Microsoft Word. Can we? I'm not familiar with that. Can we use Microsoft Word in treating or in analyzing statistically, okay, our data? So let me know. Let's explore it. Okay, but then I told you there are a lot of apps. There are a lot of software application wherein um, we can let okay our data to be analyzed, to be statistically analyzed. Now those are surveys. So those are the ways on how we can conduct and gather information from surveys. Now let's talk about experiments. In experiments, how should we conduct information from questionnaires? Let's have this. Okay, first is definitely in any experiment, the number one is the problem. In any scientific investigation, all right, in any scientific method, the first and foremost step is we should be identifying and defining the problem because if there is no problem, no time for you or no reason for you to do investigation, okay, to do exploration, to do experimentation because you don't have a problem. Eh. But then, okay, that's the number one. You should be able to establish, identify, and define the problem or the reason why you should conduct this experiment. Number two, review relevant literature, or we call this the RRL. Or ano yung sabi ng RRL? This is the review of related literature. Why? Because you should be looking for the research gap. That's why you are reading a vast or a huge number of related literature. Okay, so that you can somehow determine the gaps. You can determine the different viewpoints of various authorities on that particular topic, and you can determine now the primary problem. That's why it's very important to review related literature. And of course, in this one, is it not in experiment or in the scientific method? It's very important for us to formulate hypotheses, okay, and deduce their consequences. In formulating hypotheses, ano nga kasi ang hypothesis sa English? ay scientist, in science, right? In science, is it not hypothesis? These are what we call the educated guess. Hindi na siya basta-basta hula lang. It is somewhat a guess that still have a basis. Okay? Still have, what do we call that? Yeah, a basis or a very strong premise on something. We call that the hypothesis. Next, construct an experimental design. So there are a lot of experimental designs on how we're going to conduct and how we're going to implement your experiment. So please check on those. Next, it is now the time for you to conduct the experiment, the actual conduct or the actual implementation, or yeah, implementation of the experiment. And of course, compile raw data and condense to usable form. Of course, after the experiment, you'll be doing an observation. Okay, you'll be measuring. Okay, you'll do some measurements. All right, after the experiment, and you'll be compiling the data, and after that, you'll be condensing it. You'll be synthesizing it so that you can report it later. So, what is the result of that particular experiment? And that is your journey when you are having the experiment. Okay, and of course, you have to present the findings and conclusions based on the experiment you've conducted, based on the experiment you performed. Okay, are you still there? Are AF phenomenal students? Don't be too serious. We're making everything lighter here. So we're done with conducting a survey. Next is conducting an experiment. Okay, are you still there? Are AF phenomenal students? Yes, thank you for your usual support. And next is, let's talk now about observations. Okay, observations. Can I ask, can we get data from observations? If we can, how? How can we get data and information through observation? Yan, you are there. AF Phenomenal Student Teddy of Vic 4, good afternoon. To Rosaline Mangaba of San Mariano National High School, UMS 11 Mandela, good afternoon, Nak. Mhm. Okay, and shout out kay teacher Mary Grace Galiza Tandayu of San Mariano National High School. Thank you, ma'am, for your support of letting your students, okay, watch, okay, our AF session every week. Thank you, ma'am. Grace Galiza Tandayu, and to all the teachers of San Mariano National High School. Thank you for your very supportive environment there in every Itulay session we are presenting from Monday to Saturday. Okay, by being immersed sa sample, yeah, it could be we can do that through observation. How about the others? How about the others? How can we do observation? Okay, or can we use observation in gathering data and information? Okay, so according to Buen Suceso, the Canay, Manalo, and San Gabriel in 2016, according to them, observation may take place in natural setting and involve the researcher taking lengthy and descriptive notes of what is happening. In other words, through observation, okay, remember, it should be happening. Ayan, Angelica May, it's a kind of qualitative, okay, part of qualitative study. That is correct. It is observation. You got it right. So, but remember, in doing an observation, it must be natural. Hindi pwedeng scripted. So, example, you are exploring the lives of our Aita people um, on the highlands of, example, Porac, Pampanga. So you'll be immersing yourselves, okay, on their environment. It should be natural. Natural. What does it mean natural? Hindi pwedeng nako-conscious sila sa'yo na nandoon ka. Dapat, they should act naturally because you are getting the natural phenomenon, okay, of of the exact happening. Okay, yeah, the Hawthorne effect, that is correct. Make the scene natural. Do not make it scripted because magiging scripted din ang resulta ng iyong research report if um, gusto mong ipakita, oh, dapat ganito kayo, dapat no. Don't do that. In observation, it should be happening in a natural setting wherein the researcher are taking lengthy and descriptive notes on what is happening. Okay, so observation can sometimes obtain more reliable information about certain things. For example, how people actually behave, di ba? How they behave, and as a technique also in what do we call this? Encountering them in their natural environment. And the questions are, what are the techniques? Okay, for collecting data to observation. Of course, the very basic. You should have the pen and the paper. You are writing what you see, what you observe using your senses, using your eyes, your nose, your ears, your skin, okay, and even your taste, okay, the sense of tasting. So use observations and jot them down. All the observations you've noticed. Next, video recording, right? So example, our people or broadcast journalists who do documentary films, right? They do video recording to cover, okay, the environment, the phenomenon, okay, or the event happening there. And lastly, through the use of photographs and artifacts. Photographs, you're taking pictures, right? And how about the artifacts, Tutor Alvin? Maybe you can get actual product from that particular community, from that particular environment, from that particular area. And you can use that as a means of evidence that this product exists on that one. So those are some techniques that you can collect, okay, on how you can collect data using observations. Written description to the use of video, okay, video recordings, and you can use also photographs and even artifacts, okay, real objects, okay. So that is right. So now there are 3 steps in conducting a survey. So first is decide on the 4 or 5 option survey questions. As much as possible, we'll be using the Likert scale. Okay, decide on the 4 or 5 option survey questions. So next one is conduct a survey, then tally all the answers. Ito na ang madugo, okay, sa quanti. Alright? If you're having your survey questionnaire, definitely, nakasagot na lahat sila. Anong gagawin mo? Once they returned it to you, you'll be tallying them. What do you mean tally? Question number 1, ilan na sumagot ng 5? Bareta, ganyan. 4, 3, 2, 1. Because you need to summarize, okay? You need to, or before you summarize them, you need to tally, okay? Or, what we call it, combine the results so that somehow you can get the general result out of all the samples or out of all the respondents you have, okay? So, after you conduct a survey, tally all the answers. O, nandito na ba kayo sa triple I ninyo? Nagtatali na ba? Or baka nga hindi pa nagbigay ng questionnaire. Or baka naman, nag-i-interpret na. Okay, kumusta na kayo sa inyong research? Nasaan na kayong part? Nandito na ba kayo sa tallying? Or namimigay pa lang ba kayo ng questionnaires? Or baka naman, tapos na nagtali, nag-i-interpret na. Nasa results and discussion na sila. Sana all. Okay, so, and of course, count the answers, marking the items with the least to the greatest tallies, then make a graphic representation of the results. Right? Example, in number 1, gender sample. Okay, demographic profile. Let's have the most basic, gender. Okay. Example, you have one You have 100 participants. Okay? And then 60 of your respondents, 60 of your respondents are male and 40 of them are female. So definitely, you can tally, you counted ilan ang male, ilan ang female, yun na nabilang mo, 60 and 40. Then you can present it using a graphic representation. Okay? What do you think is the best? We have a lot of charts and graphs. How about that? You want to show that 40% of the respondents are male, I female, and 60% are female. What's the best graphic representation you are going to use? Diba? We have a lot of types of charts. We have a lot of, or we have different varieties of graphs. Yes, it is. You can use the pie chart, okay? And then below that, you can do the interpretation of that, a narrative interpretation of that one. Okay, a pie graph would be nice. That's correct. Galing. So, ayan, always remember that be careful in tallying. So you should observe accuracy and honesty, no? Hindi nakakatamad. Tsinahin ko na lang, bawal ang pagchichena-chena, right? Sa inyong ano ha, sa inyong mga research, lalo na sa ano ha, sa pagtatali. Huwag tamarin, sipagin palalo kasi patapos na yan, okay? May data na kayo, you just need to tally so that you can interpret and interpret the result. Okay, baka tinawad ka bigla. Bigyan mo ng 5 yan, bigyan mo ng ganyan. No. And choose the most appropriate graphics that best represent the result. All right, so we're done with the discussion part. Our dear AF Phenomenal students. So for this afternoon, we talk about the ways on how, okay, we should conduct and gather survey as conduct and gather information from survey, experiment, and observations. Maraming iba't ibang uri, okay, on or ways on how we can conduct survey, experiment, or observation. And of course, we also talk about what are the steps in conducting a survey. First and foremost, your questions, your survey questions. You should have it because you cannot have the data if you do not have the survey questions. Make sure it is ready. Number two, after you conducted, okay, you conduct, distribute the survey, and after that, collect again the survey questions. Then tally all the answers. And for step three, upon tallying, you are counting the answers. And of course, based on the collected data, based on what you tallied, okay, the data, the numerical data you received, present it using a graphic organizer. All right, so just in time for our AF moment to shine. Are you ready to shine, our dear AF phenomenal students? Okay, give me a thumbs up or any reactions there so that I can know if you're still there. So let us begin. Okay, thank you. So please number your answers. So our activity, our final activity for this session is very easy. You just need to choose the best answer among the options. So some are situational and situational, and that is a little bit tricky. So you have to analyze carefully each item. So let us begin. Number one, this can be used as a platform in distributing your survey. A, Google Earth, B, Google Form, C, Google Pass, or D, Google Translate. So what is the answer for this one? Okay, saya naman. Julius, B, Alan Mark, B, Mark Gabriel, Teddy, Anthony, John, B, Google Form nga ba? That is correct. This is Google Form. Thank you. Number two, you're you're really brilliant. Okay, Angelito Stephanie, tama. Number two, which of this can be disregarded when explaining your survey to your respondent? Ano nga ba hindi na kailangan pang sabihin pa kapag nagbibigay ka ng questionnaire? Okay, number one, the deadline for answering. Two, letter B, sorry, the kind of ballpen to use when answering. Letter Z, the purpose of the survey and the benefits of it. Or letter D, the time needed for answering. So which of these can be disregarded when explaining your survey to your respondent? Angelito, please put number on your answers. Okay? So most of you answered letter B. B nga ba? Yeah, it is. Oh, kailangan naman. Anong paki pa kung kailangan may matter does it matter pa ba kung anong uri ng ballpen ang gagamitin when answering? It doesn't matter. It should be disregarded. Tama. All right. Number 3 question. This is a statement that will likely draw more specific generalizable data. Napag-usapan natin ito kanina. Sana natatandaan nyo pa. Is it letter A, behaviors, B, conclusion, C, connections, or letter D, hypothesis? This is a statement that will likely draw more specific generalizable data. This is okay, that is correct. It's letter D, hypothesis. Going, okay, number 4, second to the last. What recording tools you can use in observing? Again, what recording tools you can use in observing? A, audio recordings. B, paper and pencil. C, photographs. Or letter D, all of the above. We can use all of them, sir, if you answer D. Can I have your answers? Okay, unanimously you answered letter D. But is that the correct answer? Let's check. Tama, it is letter D, all of the above. You can use those tools while you are observing. And the last one. What should you do if your participant saw you that you are recording a video and told you to stop? What should you do? One, letter A, insist that it is essential for the research. B, pack your things and just leave. Letter C, stop and apologize for not explaining the video recording. Or letter D, tell her that it is already recording and you can do anything. Paano nga pag nangyari, nagbe-video ka bigla? Tigilan mo ngayon, sabi ng respondent mo bigla. Huwag mo akong kunan. What is the best thing you should do? Pipilitin mo ba? Ay, hindi pwede to. Tuloy-tuloy ko lang to. Nag-research ako, wag mo akong bawalan. That's A, di ba? Or baka pwedeng D? No. Naka-on na. Nagre-record na ako. Wala kang magagawa. Nag-video ako. Pwede ba yon? Or binawalan ka, nagtampo ka bigla. Kung yung gamit mo, umalis ka bigla. Hindi yon. It is letter C. Stop. Okay? Stop. And apologize. Baka may reason nga naman si respondent mo na baka nabigla siya, ba't nabibidyo ka bigla? Okay? For privacy purpose din kasi. So you have to explain the reason why do you need to have that recording. It is letter C. Okay. So congratulations, our dear AF Phenomenal students. Can I know your score? Over 5 or out of 5 items. What is your score? Be proud and share it. Okay? On the comment section. What's your score? Okay, Teddy got 4 over 5. Mark Gabriel, 4 over 5. That's not, okay lang yan, okay? Angelica got 5. Okay, Mary Jane, 5 over 5. Congratulations to Anthony, got perfect. Yang May, Angela, Twilight, Jenny. Okay, you got also 5. You got 5. Kisha, congratulations. So, how was it? I would love to hear your thoughts or feedbacks on how we can improve your E2Live experience. You can scan the QR code here or maybe visit the link. Okay, so we're done with our discussion on how to conduct and gather information from survey experiments or observations. All right. So in conducting surveys and observations, you should plan on what to do and what not to do during these stages. Learning how to prepare your materials, your respondents, and most especially yourself is key in producing a well-crafted report that can be used in real life. And that's it for today. Thank you for your participation, a phenomenal students. This has been Tutor Alvin, and in behalf of Tutor Aaron, we are your AF buddies. See you next Tuesday for more thrilling adventures. Sabayan niyo ako. Always remember to be A phenomenal, B A fantastic, and B A powerful in English for academic and professional purposes. Only here on Itulay Live. See you next time, A phenomenal students. Good day.